Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Night Image Designs. This is episode 1 of the Making of the Scavenger. My name is Robert, and before the episode starts, I kind of want to go through what this channel is about and what there is to come. I'm an effects artist. I like sculpting, I like painting, I like fabricating, and I kind of built this channel because I want to kind of show off like what the process is of making these things. I think it's kind of interesting, and I think, I enjoy it, and I kind of want to share that with people. I want to share my passions, and I thought, what better way to start off this channel than to make a 3-part mini-series of the making of a character I've been working on for the past 2 years. As you know from the title, his name is the Scavenger, that's what I refer to him as, and he exists in the Star Wars universe. But I made him to not interrupt any of the major storylines. He kind of just exists in his own world in that universe. And I wanted to make this 3-part series because first off, the costume took me forever to build, and I don't want to post one big hour-long video of all of that. So I'm going to break it down into 3 sections. I'm going to post 1 a week. And at the end of that, I want to do kind of like a little mini movie clip of the character and its environment, all finished, all done. And that'll be kind of like the big reveal. So until the final movie clip comes out, this is episode 1 of the Making of the Scavenger. And I guess without no more further interruption, enjoy. So when coming up with the concept of this character, I wanted to go with a rogue stormtrooper. So I wanted to incorporate obviously the aspects of that character design. I wanted to make it apocalyptic. I wanted him to have this dirty, aged look to him, as if he's been through a lot. He's been through many wars, and I also wanted him to live on Tatooine. I wanted him to have that backstory where in order for him to fully get away from the Empire, he went to the one place Vader couldn't find him. I also wanted him to have this kind of like bounty hunter personality to him. Very rugged. I wanted that look in him, very battle damage, very raw. I took a lot of inspiration from Bosk. To start off this character, obviously I had to focus on the helmet. I went with a Black Series helmet because the Anovos helmets are very thin. I want to add a lot of battle damage to them, and these helmets, they have this, this thickness to them, and I thought it would be a perfect canvas to start. So the way I started off was just layering paint. Just wanted to base it out, see how far I wanted to go, and I noticed the more paint I added, the more I wanted to keep going, and the rougher he looked, the better I thought he looked. So after a few, brush-overs with washes and of browns and blacks and even some yellows, I was really digging this really rusty, aged look to him, and I just had to run with it. And then I wanted to incorporate some new aspects to his helmet. So I sanded out those little blue stripes that he has on the side of the helmet, and I wanted to add in some LEDs. I thought that would be really cool. And I can't really explain what the purpose is for the lights, but it just adds this second element to the helmet other than just like a blank decor. And here you can see what it looks like. I added a blue pulsating light. I thought it well replaces the paint, but it also adds like a cool effect when it pulsates. Here you can see I had to do some carving to wire in all the LEDs, added a little switch, and kind of just based the battery pack in a little socket at the end. And here you can see the finish, what it looked like. With a Dremel, I went through and I carved in some areas, kind of like some blast damage. I thought it would look really nice. He has a lot of markings and a lot of burnt areas where I would assume an explosion hit him. Added a lot of rust and sand. So and here on the back you can see I'm still patching up. So I just used some shellac and cinnamon to add the rust, and then a little bit of, spray glue and sand to add in all those little crevices. I also added those hoses there. You can see, I think it adds a better element to it. Instead of having those small little filters, those little filter knobs at the end of his mouth, I thought it'd be nicer to have some big old tubes that he replaced them with. And here you can see what it looks like all together with the pulsating lights. I just thought all this kind of adds a really good element to his apocalyptic look, which is what I was going for. Here's me wearing it. Fits well. None of the battery packs get in the way of my head. I put a little cushion at the top to kind of support. So the next aspect of the suit is the chest. That's something that's very important besides the helmet. And I was debating on whether to purchase a chest or make it from scratch. And it being a custom suit, I thought might as well just make it from scratch. So I started off with cutting out foam core, hot gluing it together to making the base structure. After that, I fiberglassed over it to give it more structural support. Then I started layering it with clay. Here you can see this green clay. It's cheap clay. I used it to base it out so that I don't use the majority of the expensive clay. So I based it out with this. So once I got it to a good thickness, then I started adding the mono melt medium clay over that, which is just a Chevant. And here you can see I used a rake and some metal paddles to kind of smooth it out, really get the sharp edges. I tried my best to mirror it, but I always plan to digitally scan it and model it where I can flip it and have a very symmetrical piece. But I just tried my best anyways. So here you can see I'm going the extra mile, trying to line it up with tape, get some good measurements, trying to make it as symmetrical as possible. But here you can see once the file is scanned, I mirrored it, and this is what you get. This is the 3D printed part. I did a lot of high build primer on it, did a lot of body shopping to get it to this. Here you can see after it's been painted, I did the same process of painting the helmet, did the exact same thing on this chest piece. You can see I added a little shoulder piece on the side. I attached it with some bungee cord, some little like springs. I thought it was a nice touch of a way to hold it in place while actually giving it some extra detail. You can see in the chest I added this huge blast area. I thought it looked really well, kind of complemented the blast on the face. So the next thing I wanted to do was a little handpiece. And like the chest, I did it from scratch. I started by sculpting it. I did it on a little mannequin hand. It's pretty close to my hand, so I thought it would fit well. Then I molded it, did a little brush up mold, backed it with plaster so it can keep its shape. Then I did a Bondo brush in, and I backed it with glass. Now with this, my goal was to body shop it, seal off the sides, and make it into a little buck so I can vacuum form it. And once I vacuum form it, then I can cut out the piece, trim it, soften it, smoothing it as much as I want to, so that I can finally have this piece, which here it is, all cut out and cleaned up. I attached it onto this leather glove I bought off Amazon. It's fairly cheap. It's just like a generic leather glove. I thought it would complement the hand armor pretty well. I did the same process as the helmet, obviously, with the same paint job. Added some shellac and cinnamon for the rust. Alright, so the next big part of the suit was the backpack. I wanted to go with that Sand Trooper backpack, just lots of like Tupperware and boxes on the back. I wanted to have this kind of representation of the look, but not really go that far, because I still want it to be unique. I want the characters, designed to be unique. I ended up using the base of a literal Tupperware box, cut the end off, added some trim on the sides to kind of blend in where I carved it. Added another Tupperware box and just a little circle kind of thing I added on top of that. I don't really know where it came from, but I just thought it really looked good. And this is when I assembled it all, primered it. I used a little wire antenna. And here I sewed this backpack from scratch, and that I intend to attach to the bottom. I used some buckles, and I thought it was a really nice addition. And here it is, all painted up just like the armor. Added a lot of rust to it. I did a two-toned of silver spray paint and black spray paint to give it this gunmetal look. And here you can see all of it attached, put together with the rust and everything. It looks really well. There you can see the backpack. I added some weathering to it. So that's it for episode 1 of the Making of the Scavenger. I hope you guys enjoy. And if you did enjoy and you want to see part 2 and 3, think about subscribing. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next one.